The September 7th, 2021 council meeting will now come to order. In compliance with the Open Meeting Act, Nebraska Revised Statute 84-1407, a current copy of this act is hanging on the wall. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Bulkley.
Here.
Augustine Schulte. Here. Barr.
Here.
Hemer.
Here.
Jablonski.
Here.
Kreshaw.
Here.
Lohr.
Here.
Roth.
Here.
Schilling.
Here.
Mayor Bulkley, the roll has been called.
Thank you. Mrs. Council President.
Our Father, thank you for the opportunity to serve our fellow citizens. Please give us your wisdom and guidance to make the proper decisions entrusted to this governmental body. May our conduct show respect, honor, and courtesy to each other, as well as to all our citizens. Amen. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that her flag was still there. Oh, sing us that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. I welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. If at any time during our meeting anyone in our audience would like to come forth and address anything on the agenda, we'd ask you please come to the podium, give your name, address, and we'd ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. With that, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Item 4, consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a City Council member or citizen requests, in which event the item will be removed from consent status and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item 4A, minutes of the August 16th, 2021 City Council meeting. Item 4B, quote from Danco Emergency Equipment in the amount of $23,800 for structural turnout gear for the fire department. Item 4C, quote from Sandry Fire Supply LLC in the amount of $17,014.72 for fire hoses and nozzles for the fire department. Item 4D, resolution number R21-111, approving the agreement with Adam Labordi in an amount not to exceed $24,500 for a one-year service agreement to provide geographical information systems support services. Item 4E, resolution number R21-112, approving the agreement with Mark S. Howarder, MD, for reappointment as the medical director for the fire department. Item 4F, resolution number R21-113, approving change order number 4 with BD Construction Incorporated to decrease the amount of final project closeout and quantity reconciliation by $33,471.08 for construction of levee improvements. Item 4G, resolution number R21-114, approving the deed of dedication for public right-of-way on 23rd Street and 48th Avenue for Triple S subdivision. Item 4H, resolution number R21-115, authorizing payment of various improvement projects. Item 4I, payroll and bills on file. Mr. Mayor and Council, is there anything you would like removed from consent status?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the items on the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes. Brings us up to public hearings.
Item 7A, public hearing, town hall meeting to consider Northeast Nebraska Solid Waste Coalition budget for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2022.
Is there anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Anyone here to speak for this public hearing?
Mr. Mayor, I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes.
Item 7B, public hearing, property tax request for 2021-2022.
Anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Anyone here to speak for this public hearing? I would point out that based on LB 148, which was passed last year and effective for this budget year, the City of Columbus held a budget hearing this evening at 5:30 that was open to the public and was attended by no one. But we did discuss the budget. With that, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
All voted aye.
When I hit, it must be when I hit, and then it comes right up on the screen. By golly.
Item 7B1, resolution number R21-116, setting the property tax request at $5,977,541.
Mr. Mayor, move resolution number R21-116 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution R21-116. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes. Didn't
Item
work.
7C, public hearing, 1 and 6 year plan.
Anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Anyone here to speak for the public hearing?
Mayor, move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and fellow city council members, I have a question on this 1 6-year street improvement plan that I hope someone can answer. Last year, we spent $63,300 on a south side mobility study, and to date, nothing has been done. Are we going to just keep kicking the can down the road? Or are we going to put this study to use?
I can start, Rick, if you want me to. The engineering department did put in, we have implemented phase 1, the non-construction phase of the South Side Mobility Study. And we did that within the last 12 months. The second phase is construction. And we did have that in our initial capital improvement plan when we had our initial budget hearing. And because of the magnitude of other street improvement projects that were already in the pipe or ready and need to move forward, we didn't have the funds this next fiscal year to proceed with the first phase of construction of the South Mobility Study, but it is in the future plan. So like every major roadway project, it does take a little bit of time to work them into the long-term budgets. I mean, East 14th Avenue is just under construction now. We've been talking about that for 4 years. 48th Avenue just got finished. We've been talking about that for years. The SID was created 3.5 years ago. So it just does take time, but it is in the works, Dennis.
Well, I just hope we can look at this again next year and not put it off for 6 years, because we're gonna have a big problem on 8th Street in 6 years, I can tell you that. Thank you for your answer.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions, any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes.
Item 7C1, resolution number R21-117, adopting the 1 and 6 year plan.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of resolution number R21-117.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution R 21-117. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
Got to get my arrow in the right place here. Okay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes.
Item 7C2, resolution number R21-118, authorizing the mayor to sign the Municipal Annual Certification of Program Compliance 2021 to the Nebraska Board of Public Roads Classifications and Standards.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we adopt resolution number R21-118.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number R 21-118. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes. Brings us up to new business.
Item 13A, appointment of Zachary Mccloud as police officer.
Council members, with your permission, the mayor would like to submit the name of Zachary Mccloud for conditional appointment as police officer, subject to successful completion of all tests and training. The Civil Service Commission certified this candidate at their July 13th, 2021 Civil Service Commission meeting. As per council rules, the 2-week waiting period for the appointment of a police officer has been waived. Zachary Mccloud is a graduate of Newman Grove Public School in Newman Grove, Nebraska. He attended Northeast Community College in Norfolk, Nebraska, taking coursework in criminal justice. Zachary is currently employed with the Platte County Highway Department. Mr. Mccloud will attend the Nebraska Law Enforcement Academy and the Columbus Police Department's field training course. This is a budgeted position. Council members, we need a motion to ratify this appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes. Mr. Mccloud, would you like to come forward and introduce yourself to us, please? Always like to wait for the introduction to make sure they passed you first.
Chief Shear, Columbus Police Department. Folks, it's my pleasure to introduce Zach Mccloud. With his hiring tonight, we're one step closer to being full-staffed. But unfortunately, by the time we get him on the street, it's going to be about a year from now. We're going to send him to the academy in January. He'll get out of the academy in April. He'll come back and he'll do 4 months of FTO, so it'll be about August, about this time next year, when we actually get him on the street. But we're excited that he's joining us, and we're excited to get him started. So here's Zach Mccloud.
Thank you, everybody, for your approval. I guess I don't know what else to say. If anybody has a question?
Congratulations. Looking forward to you joining the force.
This is my dad, Greg, his girlfriend, Pam Shanley, my brother, Travis Mccloud, and my girlfriend, Sam.
We wondered why you all were here. Didn't think you came to just see us. Well, we're proud. We're glad to have them join the force. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you, folks.
All right.
Item 13B, appointment of Timothy Mattis to the Library Board for a 4-year term.
Council members, with your permission, the mayor would like to submit the name of Timothy Mattis for your consideration and appointment. This nomination has been recommended by the city library director and the library board. The candidate resides within the Columbus city limits, and this is for a 4-year term. Timothy Mattis is a Columbus resident and uses library services to check out materials both in the library and online, and to attend programs with his family. He graduated from the University of Nebraska with a bachelor's degree in political science and earned his JD degree from the University of Nebraska College of Law. He has served as the Platte County Public Defender since 2010. As someone who has benefited from the use of libraries in his life, both personally and professionally, Timothy desires to ensure that his children have the same positive educational experiences from their local library. Timothy has served on many boards, including the Peace Lutheran Church Board of Governance, Nebraska Criminal Defense Attorneys Association Board of Directors, and the Nebraska Bar Association House of Delegates. He is involved with the Columbus community with his participation in the Peace Lutheran Church, Columbus Jazz Orchestra, Columbus Community Band, and Habitat for Humanity. His community involvement and his perspective that a public library be a place that encourages a community to be well-informed and well-educated makes him an excellent candidate for the library board. Council members, we would need a motion to ratify this appointment.
So moved.
Move that the appointment be ratified.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes. Mr. Mattis, would you like to come up and say hello to us?
Good evening. I know some of you, like Ron, I've known for several years at church, and I've met some in Tara. But thank you very much for your time. Libraries are a very special, hold a very special place in my heart. I spent a lot of time as a child in the McCook Public Library before we moved to Kansas. And I think that was probably one of my favorite places in town. And I think that did a lot to my love of reading and my love of learning. And so libraries have been very important to me ever since I was a young child. When I got to college, I worked in libraries. When I was a student, I worked in the music library at the University of Nebraska. I did Christmas vacation coverage at some of the other libraries, and when I got to law school, I worked in the law library for 2 years. So libraries have always been a very important thing for me, and now that my kids, my oldest daughter Maddie is 7, she is an avid reader. She is just started 2nd grade at Emmanuel Lutheran School and reads at a 3rd grade level minimum right now. And my twins, who are 5 and just started kindergarten, are starting on the right path to almost being able to read by themselves already. So libraries are very important to me, and I very much enjoy the summer programs and reading programs here at Columbus Public Library, and I just want to do what I can to ensure that our citizens have a quality library that they deserve, and I think we're there right now. I just want to help preserve that. So
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to the board. Thank you.
Item 13C, proposal from Landscapes Unlimited LLC in an amount of $179,700 for dredging of the Quail Run Golf Course irrigation lake.
Mr. Mayor, move for the adoption of the proposal for the dredging of the Quail Run Golf Course be accepted by Landscapes Unlimited.
Just a minute and you will be able to. Yes, sir.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Ty Green. I'm the owner of Cornhusker Dredging. I am the alternative on this page here as far as using the dredging equipment versus the excavator. One of my key and core values in our company is to have transparency and communication with this. Brian from Landscapes Unlimited reached out to me, wanted to have a quote to use an actual dredge into that pond versus an excavator. An excavator is only going to be able to go around the perimeter and reach in as far. That being said, Brian was telling me they think about 6,900 cubic yards can be removed. We're leaving out about 5,000 versus what I can do on the whole job at 11,000 cubic yards. That being said, kind of put that into a picture for you. That's about 312 dump truck loads that's going to be left there. Knowing what I know, that is not going to fall back into the sides. It's going to stay put there in the center, being that there's no activity on that pond as far as circulation of boats or whatnot to shift that material around. On Saturday, I hopped onto the agenda here and took a look at that. I saw that my bid was not what I sent in, and I understand that there would be a markup in that and whatnot, but of $52,000, it seems to be quite a bit more than what I guess should be appropriate. I've reached out to quite a few people today. I've had no responses back. We're not comparing apples to apples with my bid with the excavator. If we want to remove only 6,200 cubic yards, we're about $15,000 less than what is being asked for approved for. That being said, we can do quite a few things with our material. We can send it out to a field. We can pump it into bags. An excavator and dump truck, you're going to go over 3 holes. So at the 100 and what is it here? The excavator quote, I guess is what I should say, Brian at Landscape, he told me that that's not going to include repairing those 3 holes as well. Our dredge equipment is small enough, and the footprint is going to be that of just a 6-inch pipe stretched 2,000 feet across to an open field. We won't have any heavy equipment tracking around the perimeter of any such thing like that. So I would urge, I know this probably isn't the place to show you different quotes or not, but I couldn't get a hold of anyone. So I would urge you guys.
Who did you try to get a hold of?
I left a message with Doug Moore, Keith, Brian. Brian reached back out to me on Saturday. I tried to get a hold of him today twice, left multiple voicemails, could not get through to anyone. And I guess the only reason I wanted to get a hold of someone is because I wanted to do apples to apples. If you're going to do 6,500 cubic yards, let me show you 6,500 cubic yards. So that is what I have. If you guys want to see those, I have those. I don't know exactly how this process works here, but I just needed to be voiced. So,
Well, I will say this, from what I've heard, that there's enough discrepancy to want to see more information about that quote and just what are we trying to do.
Well,
I think what he's pointing out needs to be verified and explained, not only to me as the mayor, us as the council, but to the public. And that would be my take on this.
well,
How did the RFP
excuse
come
me,
out?
but you just jumped right into it. And so, Doug, do you know what exactly he's talking about? I mean, we just get Landscapes Unlimited was hired through an RFP process. It is their job to get quotes and give us the options, and that's what they did, and we selected the least expensive option as we're required to do by state statute. So if Landscapes Unlimited is telling us that this will do the job and that's all we need to do, and the intake is not in the center of the lake, so the excavating will do the job. It will remove the debris that we need removed. And furthermore, they did tell us that this price does cover refurbishing the holes that will be damaged because of the moving of the material. So that's not entirely accurate.
Yeah, because we did check on that. They had mentioned to me that this wouldn't, one of their workers, Brian, had mentioned that wouldn't be, excavating will be more intrusive, the dredging would be less. We knew that, but they said, he told me that they wouldn't repair the work. I called his supervisor and said, okay, does your quote include repairing the damage done to the course? He said, yes, it does.
okay. Can I
So let me just ask a couple questions. You're saying that you're the dredging quote, not the excavator quote, and you're quote was based on the cubic yards
Correct.
being removed, and you want to quote it based on the cubic yards that's going to be removed with the excavator.
Correct. Brian had me come out and
So what would that be
the quote for the excavator,
for the material that we need removed?
it's 165,000.
Just your cost.
Yeah, that's my cost there.
Okay, so by the time we deal with Landscapes Unlimited,
Yeah, they're
you
gonna
understand
have to,
there's
yep, I
going to
understand
be
they'll have
a
to mark it up.
difference.
I would
And it's likely-
urge one thing here. The pump house for the pond has a retaining wall in front of it. So for them to be able to get next to that inlet where they can reach in and really remove that sediment where it needs to be removed from is going to be a challenge for them. Mine runs on cables, so we can cable off and focus on just that section. And for say we want to go deeper in that area or around that inlet, we can control where we go, and there's really no limit to where we can go versus just going around the perimeter. I mean, if we want to go 12 feet deep right next to that perimeter, 40 feet around it, so we don't have a problem in the future, we can do that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I would just ask for a motion to remove this from the agenda.
I would like to rescind my second.
Rescind my motion.
I'll move that we remove this from the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to remove this from the agenda. Any discussion?
Just, this is in addition to this is a whole nother thing that's going on because it's plugging the irrigation system.
Correct. So, yes, this isn't part of the original scope that you all have previously seen. This is additional work that's needed to clean out the irrigation lake.
We have a motion and a second to remove. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes.
Item 13D, comments from the mayor and city council members. In compliance with the Open Meetings Act, no discussion can be held on this item.
Any council members have comments this evening? Yes, sir.
Once again, we had another freak of nature Tuesday where we had some 2 inches of rain dumped on our sewer and sanitary system and created a big mess in the alley behind down at 13th Street. I just have to commend the city and the water department for their work. They were very diligent. There was fear of more rain on Thursday. They assured the landowners, property owners, that would be fixed, and they did have it done. They worked into the evening. They do need to have a tip of our hats. They did a very nice job, and very appreciative for that work. And I know the property owners are still dealing with the mess, but I think they felt a little bit better that they wouldn't get a second whammy. So, thank you, Chuck and crew.
Kudos. Any other comments this evening?
And 15th Street is nice.
I haven't been down. Is it done?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's very good.
In fact, they were painting the lines today, so that's great.
I had one comment. I thought it was appropriate to point out during the consent agenda, and because it's a consent agenda, we don't have discussion. I thought it was appropriate to point out that Resolution 21113, just to remind everybody, was passed because of a reduction in an amount owed. And it's not very often that we get to tell the public we got a reduction of $33,471.08. So I think it's kind of nice to point that out once in a while. All right, we'll move on to resolutions.
Item 14A, resolution number R21-119, adopting the schedule of fees effective October 1st, 2021.
Mr. Mayor, I move resolution number R21-119 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution R21-119. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes. Brings us up to ordinances on their first reading.
Item 15A, ordinance number 21-27, adopting the 2021-2022 pay plan.
Mr. Mayor, I move the rules be suspended and ordinance number 21-27 be read by number only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read ordinance number 21-27 by number only. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes.
Ordinance number 21-27.
Mr. Mayor, I move ordinance number 21-27 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes.
Item 15B, ordinance number 21-28, adopting the 2021-2022 budget.
Mr. Mayor, move that rules be suspended and ordinance number 21-28 be read by number only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read ordinance number 21-28 by number only. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes.
Ordinance number 21-28.
Mayor, move that number 21-28 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 21-28. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay.
All voted aye.
Motion passes.
Item 15C, ordinance number 21-29, amending section 111.02 of chapter 111 of Title 11 of Columbus City Code regarding the occupation tax on liquor licenses, amending section 112.15 of chapter 112 of Title 11 of Columbus City Code regarding prohibitions on consumption of alcohol, and amending chapter 112 of Title 11 by adding section 112.20 through 112.25 relating to entertainment districts. This is the first reading. This will be read 3 times.
So there's nothing to,
Correct.
no motion or anything? Okay, that would be the end. Meeting adjourned.
We do have a CDA meeting for those of you.